Welcome to Katawa Shoujo. This is a visual novel set in a fictional Yamaku high school for disabled children. Now this game is about 9 years old as of the time of this recording, but from what I've heard this visual novel is very special to a lot of people. But just a disclaimer, certain content is to be turned off for the duration of this recording, just so that it saves me on a lot of editing process. Let's start this journey throughout this space. Wintry. A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like wooden wind chimes. Okay, I think we need to press on this every time. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. Deciduous, I mean. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling. I breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. Depends how cold it is, but it looks fairly cold. Just how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note said 4:00 PM. Yes, from the synopsis it says that the protagonist suffered from congenital heart defects, which is very bad. Ah yes, the note slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. As far as cliches go, I'm more a fan of the letter in the locker. That sounds like love letters then. But at least this way shows a bit of how do you pronounce this word? Initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the notes, the snowfall gradually thickens. The snowflakes silently falling from the white painted sky are the only sign of time passing in this stagnant world. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time has slowed to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me, interrupting the quiet mood. Someone is approaching me from behind. Who might it be? Hi! Hisao, you came! A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never as more than an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn to face the voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race. As it may be, who might you be? Iwanako? I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours? Damn it, I spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line and that was the result. You gotta start somewhere, man. Pathetic. Yes, I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it. Couldn't you deliver it personally? A shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense that I couldn't move a single muscle even if I tried. Oh. Pulsating. My heart is pounding now as if it were trying to burst out from my chest and claim the skill for itself. Oh dear. Don't let your heart race out of control. So, here we are, out in the cold, and you're barely dressed for the cold, madam. Once again the wind stirs up the branches. The cavernous noise is music to my ears. Iwanako flinches ever so softly against the gust of wind. As it passes, she rights herself, as if supported by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine, and she lazily twirls her long, dark hair around her finger. Sounds like Shizeo from Missing Time. All the while, the anxious beat of my heart grows louder, is audible to the entire neighborhood. And my throat is tight. I doubt I could even force a word out if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you'd go out with me. I stand there, motionless, save from my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Hisao? I reach up to try to massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Hisao? My whole body freezes. Save from my eyes would shoot open in terror. Oh, Hisao! The beat in my chest suddenly stops, and I go weak at the knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Iwanako running towards me, all these fade to black. The last things I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Iwanako screaming for help and the incessant chatter of the branches above. Clatter of the branches above, my bad. Sometimes words just do not come naturally to me. And was this the incident? 4-Leaf Studio presents. By the way, there's a link down in the description below where you can download this game for yourselves. Katawa Shoujo. And what does this present to us? Inspiration writer. Writing by those people. Editing by them. Looks like a hospital drip. Music by those two. Art by them. More art. More artists. Additional art. FMV animation. Like, there's a lot of work that's gone into this, clearly, if so many people love this game. But I think as well it's the theming of the game and people saying of how well the theming was executed throughout this game, which is why people loved it. Or it could just be the fact that people like the characters within the game. But I think the characters are the most important aspect of the game. If you don't nail the characters, you don't really get a story. Okay, so what we saw previously was pre-heart attack, and then heart attack, and now post-heart attack. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. Oh, I have to operate it with the mouse, not the keyboard. In that whole time, I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts. So, I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. How does one pronounce that? Arrhythmia? A strange word. A foreign alien one. One that you don't want to be in the same room with. Ooh, a rare condition. It causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently I've had it for a long time. They said it was a miracle that I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. It really didn't do anything to cheer me up. Because it could be the aspect that I didn't have this condition in the first place. I hope one day things like cancer will be easier to detect but also cured. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 how do you pronounce that word? Apiece. Hemorrhages. I had already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Ugh. Of course there isn't a cure. Because of our late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from the treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt like I was missed. For about a week my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled and all the get-well gifts began trickling down to nothing shortly afterwards. I realized that the only reason I had gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. Maybe some people were generally concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanako was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. Yeah, because I imagine that any stressful scenario would intensify that condition. That condition which I probably butchered the pronunciation of. The hospital? It's not really a place I'd like to live in. But doctors and nurses feel so impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they are in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them. But it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So, I idly observed the scar that those surgeries had left on my chest slowly change its appearance over time. Think of it as some kind of an omen. I still ask the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore. When I don't get a reply, the way he shuffles around the answers shows that there is at least some hope. At some point I stopped watching TV. I don't know why. I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital, although it was more like a storeroom for books. I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading, and I think I even became a bit addicted. I started feeling naked without a book in my hands. But I loved the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, because they all feel like the same day, and they all feel like the same amount of progress has been made, very little to none. Differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. Yeah, that's another differing factor. It felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mass I was trapped inside, instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was, but other times all the things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness through the barrier of non-holance I had set up for myself. The pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I had to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the scene as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely, and I couldn't even cry. Today the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he is trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is it supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party. There is this ritual the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting his papers, then setting them aside as if to make a point to the pointlessness of what he just did. Okay, so you can save the game, which is very nice. Create a new save slate. Current scene, bundle of Hisao. Current music track, Caged Heart. Okay. Then he casually sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine. He looks me in the eyes for a moment. Hello, Hisao. How are you doing today? I don't answer him, but I smile a little back at him. Ah, I believe that you can go home. Your heart is stronger now, and with some precautions, you should be fine. We have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription. The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hand and take a look myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? You know, sometimes there isn't a reaction that describes the moment. It's just emptiness. The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. Is that your interpretation of the different medication stuff like that? I saw in there erectile dysfunction. Damn it. This is insane. Side effects. Aversive effects. Contrained addictions. and dosages are listed line after line with cold precision. I try to read them, but it's so futile, since there's at least 419 more pages to read. I can't understand any of it, and tempted to only makes me feel sicker. All of this, for the rest of my life, every day. I'm afraid this is the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, thanks to the wonderful miracle that is science. I don't believe in miracles, but I believe science is a miracle in itself, because it saves lives. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Thank you for the gentle rub. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? I'd have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Don't say that. Also, I've spoken with your parents and we believe it would be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please, calm down, Hisao. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Let him say everything. Calm down. The way he says it tells me that he knew full well that I wouldn't like it. Am I going to be homeschooled? Whatever my concern shows is ignored. We understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think that it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. If there is a consistency of being able to live your day-to-day life without the need to go to hospital. So I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. It's a school called Yamaku Academy that specialises in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What? Am I? Technically, yes. It has a 24-hour nursing staff, and it's only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of students live on the campus. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for disabled kids. Don't try to disguise that fact. There's nothing wrong with being disabled. In a way of predicizing people, there is no point of simply saying, well, we've got one person, but we've got another person with exactly the same qualities. But because A person hasn't got disabilities and while B person does, we're going to instantly assume that it's going to be easier to employ the A person because they're easier to have on board. Nah. You should never discriminate people with disabilities. One of the people behind the creation of Pokemon, he has learning difficulties, or he had learning difficulties when he was still with us. I believe that is the case, but this one individual helped shape Pokemon to what it is today. Like, not for all of you, may not be something that you like, but you can at least know that it is a fictional universe which has grasped the hearts and minds of so many people worldwide. And that all came from the mind of somebody who had a learning difficulty. Or for others throughout the world, in other factors of the industry, it may have been brought about by a person with a physical disability. Just because you have a disability does not disable you from being able to do something with your life. And you are just as capable as somebody without a disability. It's just sad that people look at you with first impressions and thinking, I don't want anything to do with that because they're disabled. Like, that's just prejudice, and that is just disgusting. The prejudice part. Okay, I keep forgetting that I can't use enter to interact. If it was really that free, there wouldn't be a 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. It's not a freaking selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go, but your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. That is another thing. We went out there and had a look a couple weeks back. I think you'd like it. It looks like I really don't have a choice. Compared to other heart problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity to continue your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamn opportunity. It is an opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance of going back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school. And while it's not the same one, a special school, that's not an insult, for goodness sakes. How dare you say that a disabled school is bad? That is what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not a step down. It's not what you think. All the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, but just need a little help, in one way or another. Your father's right, and many of the graduates of the school have gone on to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. Exactly. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is. No, it's not. I really hate that something so important was decided for me, but what can I do about it? A normal life is another question. You can make it whatever you want it to be. If you want to be pinned down by the fact that you consider a disability a bad thing, then you're going to be forever held down by that psychological implication that you've imprinted onto yourself. If you feel that dyspraxia, dyslexia, autism, etc., are bad things, or if you think that somebody who has only got one leg because of something happened to that one leg, if you consider that a something that is going to remove all chances in life of you doing something that you want to do, yes, it's a bad situation to initially have it and then live with it for the rest of your life, but it doesn't mean that all doors are closed. I think the protagonist in this case is young enough to not gain kind of a broader understanding of their current situation. But of course, as well, there's the other question of experience and being within that moment. It's funny, I'd always thought my life was actually kind of boring, but now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame this lack of reaction on shock or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now, something about how I can go back to school anyway, but no. I didn't say anything. The fact is that I know now it's futile. I look around the room, feeling very tired of all of this. The hospital, doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that will make me feel any different. There really isn't a choice, I know this. But before going to a disabled school, what are those even like? It is as the doctor described it. It is a place where you can have the opportunities and capabilities as a school that is not catered for non-disabled students. But you have that bit of help on the side to allow you to go out for your day-to-day basis and know that there will be somebody there to support you when you need that support. As much as I try to put a positive spin on it, it's very difficult. But let me try. A clean slate isn't a bad thing. That is all I can think of to get me through this. At least I still have something. Even if it's a special school, it's something. It's a fresh start. It's a break of the cycle, if you will. And my life isn't over. It would be a mistake to just resign myself to thinking that. And that's good of looking at it like that. At the very least, I'll try to see what my new life would look like. We'll see. We'll see there. We haven't seen a character since the incident. Aha. Act 1. Life expectancy. Now this could be going in two ways. Expectancy of what you do with life, but then there's also the other meaning of how long do you have left, or how long do you live for. The gate looked far too pompous for what it was. In fact, gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, brown wrought iron and grey plaster, assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. I wondered if it looks like what a gate for a school should look like, but couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't want to get stuck on thinking about the gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace that felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. So I walked towards the main building of Yamaku Academy with this brisk pace. I'm alone, as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms, and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have, more like a park, with a clean walkway going past trees and the smell of fresh cut grass and all other park-like things. Words like clean and hygienic pop into my mind. It makes me shudder. I shake them off, stay open-minded now. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what I tell myself. A few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies. Too big and too many for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I thought I knew about schools. Yeah, because schools are usually loud, full of activity. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told this is my new school, in the back of my head it doesn't feel like one. I wonder if the feeling is real or caused by my expectations of a school for the disabled. It should have a question mark by it because you're questioning yourself. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. It's kind of eerie. It makes me wish there was somebody here so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. The trees hum with the wind and the the green hues flashing all around me catch my attention. It makes me think about hospitals again, but they say that the operating rooms are painted green because green is a calming colour. So why am I feeling so anxious despite all this greenery? I would say blue is a calm colour. Only after I stand in front of a haughty main building, I surprise myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back. Even if I had no life I could return to, but still after entering, there was absolutely no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous and with this realization set in my head, I open the front door. I feel like this is going to be a very long visual novel, something like Fatal 12. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. Hi there. You must be Niki? Nakai. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom and science teacher. My name is Mewtwo. Welcome. We exchange a handshake, that is neither firm nor sloppy, and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asked you for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Oh, should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're waiting already. Waiting for me? I don't like being the centre of attention. In this case I do, as in me, person, not me in the game. But I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow not knowing what is waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Thinking of this, I almost missed what the teacher was saying. Yeah, let's be polite. I shall introduce myself to the class. Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. I mean, isn't that normal? Of course, but not everyone likes to be at the centre of attention. I'm probably one of those people, but I guess I should be the one to give the first impression of myself. Yes, that's a good point, but of course it's not for everyone. Just like making Let's Play videos of games with a webcam on a microphone isn't for everyone. But of course there could also be the aspect of no mic, no webcam gaming. But that's just playing the game. Right, but it's no problem. Let's go then. My heart is pounding my chest and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow the teacher up the stairs. Do not think about your condition. Do not think about that aspect. Think about what's ahead of you, not inside you. That may stop you. Even though it's very hard to do, as I could imagine. The third door down the third floor corridor is marked as the classroom of Class 3-3. Mewtwo opens the door and enters. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I'm late again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freeze on the spot. Get a grip. This is a big step. I know that, but there isn't any point to worrying so much about it. At least not this soon. Hello there. Aha, I see we've got ourselves a class with people, of students. I follow the teacher into the class and look around, partially, so I won't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. I do wonder though what is the cause of said stuff. It's pretty spacious. The scene is unusually high and there's lots of space left over around and in between the desks. An entire wall taken up by blackboards and the high old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. The students' desks are just standard wooden desks with a shelf underneath for books and wooden chairs with metal frames. Simple and efficient. I stopped walking in front of the classroom and faced the other students. They looked normal, like students in any other school. But then, why would they be here? If you look closer, there are differences. They probably like me and have something wrong with... There's nothing wrong with them. They have a condition, but there's nothing wrong with them. Only it's just not immediately obvious. Then I noticed that one of the girls seemed to be missing the thumb of her right hand. It's a little jarring. Despite the natural tendency to listen when someone's talking about you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. I notice a flash of dark hair and see that someone is looking at me. A girl with really long straight hair that is pretty eye-catching. As she sees me looking back at her, she covers her face with her hands as if it will make her invisible. There could be a condition on her face which she is not particularly confident to just show off immediately. There is one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers at the rear of the class. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. It's not weird, it's rare. Another girl seems to be making some weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers at me over the rim of her glasses, then goes back to whatever she's doing. She's kind of cute. So is the cheery looking girl with pink hair sitting next to her. She's really hard to miss. I don't know how I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. How comes? Please welcome our newest classmate. He claps his hands and so does everyone else. Except one girl in the first row who has only one hand. I cringe a little, but hide it by bowing in thanks for this applause I did not deserve. Come on now. A collective silence tells me that I should open my mouth. So, I'm Hisao Nakai. N-A-K-A-I. Nakai. And after that, my hobbies are reading and soccer. I hope to get along well with everyone even though I'm a new student. You can cut the new student part out, okay? And after that, I'm being so boring. This is exactly like every self-introduction ever. I should say something more exciting. I end up saying nothing, and the teacher picks up from there. Everyone seems to be satisfied, even with what little I said, though. A few girls are whispering to each other, throwing glances at me. It could have gone worse. I listen to the teacher as he drones about getting along while letting my gaze sweep across the classroom. I thought I said glassroom then. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently, and when he does, they clap their hands again, which feels like a weird thing to do. The first row girl claps on this round, with her one hand against her other wrist that end in a bandaged stump. It makes me feel a little bad. We're going to be doing some group work today, so that'll give you a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamechi. She is a class representative. She can explain everything you might want to know. And who else would be able to do that better, right? Good one. How could I know? The teacher passes out the day's assignments and announces that we will be working in groups of 3. It hits me that I don't know who Hakamachi is. Slowly the teacher seems to catch my helpless expression. Oh right, Hakamachi is right there. Shinjini Hakamachi? Aha! As he calls out her name, the cute bubbly looking girl with bright pink hair and golden eyes waves her hand at me. I'll take a seat next to her by the window. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi, right? It's nice to meet you. Ha 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 ha! What, I'm caught off guard by her laughter. It's nice to meet you too, but I'm not... Oh. I'm not Hakamichi, I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi Shi-chan. Giggly Misha points to the girl next to her, the one I saw using sign language before. It looks like she has been staring at me this whole time. She nods once nonchalantly to show that she acknowledges my presence, but only barely. She has short yet carefully, neatly brushed hair, a pair of oval-shaped glasses balanced on the tip of her dainty nose, and dark blue eyes that seem to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. That is overly analytical of you to assume that. It's nice to meet you. She immediately looks at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Sign language, definitely. Hakamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher was messing with me, saying things like, "You'll be able to talk to people," and "Who better to explain things to you?" I can see you're a little confused, right? Right? But I understand why you would think I was Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter, or a translator. She says it's nice to meet you too. Aww. You're a new student, aren't you? Well, Shi-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he wouldn't have been standing up there for no reason, right? Right. He seems like a very interesting person, doesn't he? We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know you would be here today. So soon. Hichan. Right? Hi-chan. Yep, it fits, doesn't it? Did I say that out loud? It's just a surprise. I never liked that nickname. I don't really see how it fits. You look just like I am. Aww. Yeah, you did. Who is Hi-chan? Or Hick-chan? I wonder why everyone seems to think so. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder why I think so. Anyways. Right, let's move on. Hakamichi taps her fingers on the desk to get Misha's attention. They gesture back and forth to each other excitedly. Their hands are blur. And Misha seems a little overwhelmed. Sorry about that. Shi-chan wants you to know that she's the class rep, so if there is anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her. Do you like the school so far? We could show you around a little if you hadn't had the time to walk around and familiarize yourself with it. Misha stumbles with the hard word a bit, making it stick out in her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks, that would be pretty helpful. Yeah, I just kinda came straight to class today. No time to look around where I'm living. That's no good. You should always try to learn as much as you can about where you're going before you go there, not just the school life. Anyways, even if it's a trip to a convenience store. Really, Shi-chan? I don't know about where you're going. I guess I didn't bother to do that, or just didn't care enough to do so. Come on, man. You're here for the long run, so be sure to do a little bit of research. I didn't look forward to this, even if I committed myself to go along with it half-assedly. But anyway, I don't say anything, and Misha signs something that ends in a shrug. What was that? It seems like it was about me. I feel like slumping over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deeply. You look down. Are you okay? Don't take it wrong way, please. I hate it when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn things, by asking. Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help. Stop looking like you just failed a test. Alright. And another thing, you don't have to call Shichan something so formal like Hakamichi or class rep all the time. Just call her Shichan. Okay. Okay, maybe that's too casual. Maybe Shizune would be more appropriate. Yep. Shizune is fine. Okay, that'll be a lot easier for me. Is it? Question mark? I feel a lot more at ease. Both of them seem so friendly, so I feel like an idiot for being so apprehensive earlier. Being apprehensive is completely normal, especially about Shizune, who I assumed would be all business. Well, she still seems like that, so just less so, I guess. Oh right, we haven't even touched the assignment. We should start work now, or Shai-chan would get mad. The assignment is also kind of long, so we should start now if we want to finish it before the end of class. That too. Oh gosh. Oh dear. Pouts were invented before the 21st century. I actually forgot how... oh yeah, it's 9 years old. I said it at the beginning of this episode. Shizune glares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that exactly expressions conveys words, regardless if you can say words or do sign language. Okay, I get the message. After class, we can take a walk around the grounds together. It's a nice day. Okay. The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combining aspects of being both difficult and unnecessarily long. Oh dear, the unnecessarily long bit being the hard bit. Still, we finished it a few minutes earlier than anyone else in the class, despite our late start. Shizune and Misha are really capable. They're quite different though. The class rep is as calm and professional as she looks, while Misha is a lot more playful and girlish, not to mention a little more easily distracted. Yet the energetic ones are easily distracted. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's just a trait. To be honest, the two of them did most of the work. I feel guilty about that. The clock tower bells ring, signaling the end of a period. Time for lunch. Hello, without knowing what else to do, I follow Misha, who's beckoning me into the hallway and down the stairs. We descend even below the lobby where I met Muto, down to the bottom floor. Just like everything in this school, the cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern in contrast to the classic exterior. Its big windows open to a courtyard towards the main gate. Hello, it's a cafeteria! Her enthusiastic statement of the obvious makes people around us stare, but Misha doesn't seem to care, so we proceed to the line. There is a rather long list of menu options, which seems great until I realise that many of them are to accommodate students who need special diets. Yes? How nice. It almost feels like I'm back at the hospital, eating portions measured with scientific precision to meet the needs of the patients. I pick something at random and follow Shizune to a table, sitting opposite of her. As I nibble indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes me in the side to get my attention and points at Shizune. Hello, I don't understand signs, so the point escapes me. Maybe looking at a person who talks to you is proper and polite. Do you want to know something? What? About anything. We're your guides, so you should ask if there is something. I wonder. No, the second option is absolutely nothing. Ask about the library. I feel like that's probably the only one that is not what you would call poking. But at the same time, it is nice to be curious about a person. Ask about Shizune's deafness. Shizune intrigues me, and I kind of want to ask something about her. But I can't really ask about something that's personal, can I? It depends on the context and how you express yourself. I can't come up with anything else to ask, so I just force on my food while the girls talk between themselves. Misha and Shizune sign back and forth very animatedly, throwing sideways glances at me, but Misha refrains from translating. Maybe they're talking about secret girl stuff or something. I quickly notice the conversation sign is not enough to fill a silence. We arrive in the classroom early, but we're not the first. Hello, that dark-haired girl I noticed before is slumped over her desk at the last row. Hello there! She jumps a little when Misha crashes into the room with the elegance of a rhino. She shrinks deeper into her seat. I can feel her tension all the way from here, as if she was slowly turning to stone just from our presence. We're not producers, for goodness sakes. Misha and Shizune either don't notice or don't mind it, as they walk directly past her to their seats and began to converse. I'm left wondering about her, even when the classroom slowly fills with other students and finally the teacher. Getting into the rhythm of school feels strange. It's as if my brain remembers how this is done, but my body doesn't. Towards the end of the class, I start yawning and counting the minutes left. I shouldn't be this tired of my first day of school, but it is your first day of school in many years. Maybe it's the long time spent at the hospital that made me like this. I'm even feeling physically weak and lifeless. Look, when you go from the hospital for many years back out into the outside world, it's not surprising, but it's going to feel rough. And before long, the final bell rings. School is finally over for the day. Beside me, Misha and Shizune are having a short conversation. After a bit of deliberation, Misha turns to me. Hello. Unfortunately, we can't stay and show you around today. Here-chan, we've got to hurry already, since there's a lot of work for us to do. You'll find your way around here. I'm sure of it. Wait. The teacher said I'd have to see the nurse. Where do I have to go? Is that so? We can only show you that much. Come on. The nurses have their own building, so we have to go outside. Aha. It may be on their route to where they need to go anyways. We join the flow of students making their way down the stairwell and outside, with the girls pointing out other senior classrooms in the same hallway as ours. Cool. When we get outside, the girls make their way to the smaller building right next to the school. It's built in the same style, so it looks like it's actually a part of the main building. This is the auxiliary building here. There's a lot of official and important stuff inside, like the Yamaku Foundation office and all the nurses' offices. They even have a swimming pool. How is that official? But I like the swimming pool part. Don't be silly, Hai-chan. It's for physical therapy, of course. Anyway, all the nursing staff facilities are in there too. The head nurse's office is on the first floor. You'll be fine from here, right? We'll be going then. See you tomorrow. Yeah, thanks. Bye. I'm sure people can understand what this means. It's hello or goodbye. It's a way of getting people's attention. A whole building for staff that has nothing to do with the actual education. It's education in its own right, okay? I guess it's necessary for a place like this. I was about to say, I guess it's necessary for plot. I walk in, hoping that this really will be only a quick visit like the teacher said. On a white door on the left is a green cross with the text head nurse and a nameplate. A voice from the inside responds to my knock almost immediately, but I can't quite make it out. It sounded a bit like an invitation to open the door, so I invite myself further in. The room is not large and it smells strange. A framed-looking man turns around on his office chair to face me as I enter. His desk is neat and tidy, but a bin under the table is overflowing with used medical utensils, and there are at least a dozen coffee cups rings linger on the desk. Like, how much of a rush are you in to make your coffee so that it spills over onto the rim of a cup and therefore it gets to the bottom of a cup and stains the top of a... It stains the surface. Let's move on. Hello there, what can I do for you today? He is young looking and sort of rugged, but the dimples in his cheeks wash that impression away when he smiles. Are you the nurse? He smiles like a person who has heard this very same question hundreds of times. Why, yes I am, it says so on the door, no? You can call me by my name or just the nurse like everyone else. Of course. I shake off my confusion, realizing I probably should grab his extended hand. His handshake is rather firm and friendly. Right, I'm a new student and my homeroom teacher told me to come and meet you. My name is Hisao Nakai. His eyes light up with revelation. He snaps his fingers. Oh, you're that Nakai. I was just reading your file in the morning. Some kind of chronic arrhythmia and related congenital heart muscle deficiency, right? He gestures me to sit down in a vacant armchair in front of his desk. Yes? Good. Well, you've probably been briefed about the school enough, so I'll just go over this quickly. We have all kinds of facilities available, mostly physical therapy and such. There's always someone from my staff around, even at night, so never hesitate to call us if there is a problem. I've probably butchered by mispronouncing night as knife, and therefore there's going to be somebody who's going to kill us with a knife at some point. The famous 24-hour nursing staff. Wow, this is like a hospital. Well, not exactly. For instance, we don't do brain surgery here. Damn, I was hoping for a new one. This one's kind of donkey doo-doo. His joke feels so out of place that I'm left thinking why he even said it. Yeah, just that it's really weird to have so many medical people at a school. You'll get used to it, exactly. I'm not so sure about myself, because it's only your first day, but don't let the nurse know it. Now, let me just find your file again. While he searches for something from his computer and shuffles stacks of paper around, I let my gaze wander around the room. It's the epitome of generic, I'd like to say. Beige walls and ceiling, dark grey laminate flooring, and all the equipment you'd expect from a school nurse's office. Even the ridiculous educational posters are hanging on all four walls, reminding me to eat properly 3 times a day and from all the food groups. And all of those groups are formed in a pie chart. Smiling, the nurse draws a thick file from a stack of similarly thick files and opens it. So, you already have medication for the arrhythmia. Just remember to take your pills every morning and evening or it won't be much help. Exactly. The most effective medicine is the one that's inside you. Apart from that, do you do any sports? Rash stuff like, I don't know, boxing? He grins to his own joke, but I don't. Well, I played soccer occasionally with some classmates. Alright, I'm afraid I'm going to have to recommend you refrain from doing that, at least for the time being. Oh? My lack of reaction makes him raise an eyebrow, but really, I'm not too bothered by him forbidding me to kick a ball around. I guess I never did it out of burning passion for the sport, just have something to do. Any kind of concussion might be very dangerous to your heart, and risking another attack is not a good idea. Was the previous one caused by a sudden concussion to the chest area? There is no mention of the cause in your papers. It's from a date offer. Not exactly. I sidestep the question acceptedly, and he glances at me over his papers with a more serious expression on his face. Still, you need to keep your body healthy, so some exercise would do you good. We have physical therapy and such available, as I said, but I don't think you really need such heavy measures. Just get some light exercise regularly. Brisk walks or even light jogging, jumping rope, that sort of thing. Swimming, maybe. There's a pool here. So I was told. You were? Very good. At any rate, and I'm sure you've been told this before, you just need to take care not to overexert yourself. He wags his finger to emphasize the point. No need really. I've heard this 1,000 times already, but some things need to be repeated until they stick. As I say, if you throw enough matter at a wall, some of it will stick. Absolutely no unnecessary risks. Take care of yourself. Okay. He goes over my papers one more time and sets them on the desk, obviously content. Good. That's it then. Come meet me if you ever need something. Thanks. I should have before I even realized it. A quick visit indeed. I end up standing in front of the main building and the auxiliary building, although to my eyes they still look one and the same. It's the first real look I get at the other students, so I watch people coming out of the school, going towards the gate or the dorms. Everyone seems to know where they are going, and I still keep thinking that most of them don't look too special for being students at a special school. Then again, neither do I. Exactly. It's the inside. The condition is not always on the outside. It's the inside. I keep having myself a mental error of pressing enter and thinking it would continue the conversation. Does that make me one of them? Yes. One of us? Yes. I should go somewhere too to prevent me from getting lost. It's around dinner time, but I feel tired instead of hungry. Then you must eat to reduce the tiredness because we need energy to continue throughout the day. The weariness in me only grows as I trudge towards the dorms, set a little way apart from the main building complex. There is a garden of sorts between the school and the dorms, shrubbery, flowers, and that overbearing smell of fresh-cut grass that fills the atmosphere. It dawns on my tired mind that the smell feels novel because I haven't been outside at all for so long. The dorm building is big and made of red brick, like the others. It feels way too pompous for what it is, so I push forward going inside. It takes more time than necessary to fish out the key I was given from my pocket. Room 119. Despite the ornate exterior, the inside of the dorm is fairly new, functional, and boring. Stop judging its appearance. Just like in the main building, the halls and doors are wide to accommodate wheelchairs. The same goes for the elevators at the end of the hallways. I poke my head around the corridor of the common room door. Inside, a few students are watching the television. One nods and gives a quick hello before turning back to the TV. Seems that only the girls around here are sociable. I suppose it's perfectly fine with me. I climb the stairs to the upper floor. Here, small corridors branch off from the main hallway. Each of those minor halls seem to have a toilet and shower, as well as 4 rooms. About halfway down the hall, I spy room 119. The nameplates of the rooms adjacent to mine are blank. I guess there are just 2 of us here. Light shines from below the door of room 117, so I knock lightly. Hello, is anyone home? From inside, I hear a few movements. Then the clicking of way more locks than I thought these doors had. After a moment, the door squeaks open. Oh my. A bespectacled boy is standing in the doorway. He is looking at me very intently through his extremely thick eyeglasses. Who is it? Blind? No, at least not completely. Why would he have eyeglasses if he was? He leans close to me until our noses are almost touching. His breath stinks of garlic. Hisao Nakai. I'm moving into the next room. I thought I should introduce myself. His face suddenly brightens in realization, and he stands back upright, thrusting his hand out in a smiling greeting, almost straight to my diaphragm. Oh, sup, dude. The name's Kenji. Like one of the Japanese languages, Kenji. Ah, hi. I take Kenji's sweaty hand and shake it, still a little rattled by the sudden change of attitude and vehement welcome. There are some suspicious-looking people going in and out of your room earlier. It's called my parents. It was probably my parents. Your parents? You sure? Because they could have been some other people too. You can't just judge a book by its cover. I know they're my parents. His out-of-place proverb is left hanging between us, awkwardly, as I try to think of some way to respond. I'd say the chances are high enough. He shudders and makes some exaggerated hand gestures. You're a brave man, Hisao. Me? I don't think I could trust the chances. But the only one I could trust is myself. Okay. Does that mean I shouldn't get to know you either? He thinks about this for a while. A wise decision. Damn it. Damn, you are smarter than you look. Probably. What do you look like? I hope I'm not smart. He squints his eyes and leans closer again, but I lean backwards to dodge it. Never mind, it doesn't matter. Thanks. With that, he turns, fumbles around for a moment in search for a door handle, and shuts the door behind him. I slide the key into the lock of the door marked 119. Bleak beige walls, white linen, and a desk made of some type of light wood. Ugly curtains. It's no one's room. Impersonal. Like my hospital room was. My bags are sitting at the front of my bed, looking a lot emptier than they did this morning. The closet is sitting open, stocked with my clothes. Also, it seems that there are a number of school uniforms hanging there as well. A note is pinned to the sleeve of one of the shirts. Hi here, Chan. We've unpacked your things and made your bed. They said that if they don't fit, that you should go to the office tomorrow. If you have any problems, you can always call us. Love, Mum and Dad. Ah. Well, at least I don't have to worry about unpacking. I kind of hoped I would have. Then there would be something to do. Damn it, you. It's still too early. I put the note down on the desktop, and lie down on the bed, feeling drained. Lying there makes me want to read something, but I have nothing with me. I wonder if the hospital conditioned me for once to read whenever I have nothing to do. The restless urge just keeps growing until I have to stand up. Maybe it's stress or something. I was pretty nervous about it before coming and for the entire day today too. I still am, I think. Damn, I have to distract myself somehow, so I won't be this unnatural all the time. Tomorrow I'll go borrow some books from the library. Yeah, I'll do that. But for now, medication. The bottles of medications neatly arranged on my night table catch my eye. I pick up one and shake it just to hear the contents rattle inside, and then read the glued-on pharmacy label. Hisao Nakai. 2 tablets daily to stay alive. Damn it. It doesn't really say that, but it could just as well. It's kind of twisted, having your life depend on chemicals like this. I resent it a little, but what choice do I have? I began my new daily ritual of taking the right amount of pills from each bottle, being careful to check the correct dosages. I lie down again, feeling hollow and uncertain. And after that I kept staring at the blank, unfamiliar ceiling for a long time. And night falls. It doesn't start looking any more familiar, not even after darkness falls and long shadows draw across my room like fingers. The sheets feel slightly more comfortable, warm, and nest-like against the chill that passes for room temperature here. Soon the lighter shade of darkness that is the ceiling looks like every ceiling does at night, and it becomes the only thing I recognize anymore. The night beckons me to sleep, and I feel the coldness of unfamiliarity and fear creeping up my spine once again. I keep drifting further away from the world I knew. And ever so slowly, we go to sleep. Ah, pleasant. The start of a magical adventure. And we got up for the new day. I wake up in a strange room. Solid morning light simmers against the light grey ceiling. I had forgotten to draw the curtains closed last night. This is my room, isn't it? My room. This is the 3rd room this year that I'm supposed to call mine. Various things around here remind me that indeed it's me who is supposed to be the one living here. So I suppose you went back home very temporarily in order to come here. My bag's on the floor, my new school books on the desk, my numerous medications on the night table. I stare at the bottles for a moment, deliberating until I open a bottle, shake out a pill and pop out a tablet from a foil sheet. I down them with a case of water without thinking about the chemistry. My uniforms are in the closet. I slink out from under the sheets and stretch my back before dressing up. Putting on a new school uniform feels like dressing in someone else's clothes. Yeah, it kind of does in the way I feel. The artificial smell of generic detergent invades my nose, but feeling a fresh clothes against my back is a good one. A natural one. It feels like a school uniform, as it should. It's not much different from what I'm used to wear before. That goes for other things too, so far. This place seems more or less like a normal school, except for the people. I think back to my talk with Kenji yesterday, Mish's constant laughter, and Shizune's sweeping sign language gestures. While I've only met 3 students so far, maybe they aren't about normal, but I'm sure others are. Excuse me? Or perhaps people like them are what passes for normal around here? Yeah, what does pass for normal around here? What do people do? I didn't see a lot of kids hanging around after classes yesterday, so maybe there are clubs. If so, I wonder if I should join one. And we are going to pick up on this, folks. In the next, what do you mean in the last time? If this is our first time, it's certainly not going to be the last time, for goodness sakes. I am very excited about playing this visual novel. Not because of the fact of the circumstances in which all these students are in, but it is fascinating to see the perspective of people who have different kind of disabilities and see how quote-unquote normal life goes for those who have a disability in comparison to those who don't. Because remember that some disabilities are not visible on the outside. They're in the inside, like learning disabilities, difficulties, along with conditions like heart conditions, for example. But I think that everyone, every single person in the world, no matter if they're crippled or not crippled, normal quote unquote, not normal quote unquote, everyone has the opportunity to do great stuff with their life. People who are blind can still do great stuff. We played a game not too long ago called Venus Improbable Dream, where we had 2 people with different difficulties in life. One of them who plays a flute, if I remember correctly, she's blind, and the other one who has huge social anxieties from a birth defect, if I remember correctly, on his face, which has like a certain condition which grew into a kind of fear for him, in which he thinks that everyone judges him based on the mark on his face. But that doesn't seem to be the case largely. Like, people don't look at you, or smart people don't look at you for what you are on the outside and go, that person has a birth defect, I don't like him. But we'll go, let's get to know this person just like any other person. And that's, I think, how people want to be treated. Not by their disability, but by their emotions, their feelings, their understanding and perception of the world. So I'm very excited to get to know the characters of this game and just learn about, like, other learning difficulties throughout life. Because somebody like myself who has autism and dyspraxia, you can kind of get a gist of, like, different things that I struggle with, such as pronouncing certain words, especially names which are in Japanese. Like, I don't know how to pronounce those very well, along with just trying to say words in a sentence, because more often than not I muck up a sentence here and there, and that's just because, one, my brain can kind of short circuit where I try and read it, but then my brain just suddenly stops functioning in a certain way and I can't read it. And like right now, I'm struggling to think of the exact words I want to say, but these things are not what you call something that should stop you from doing what you want to do. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you all in the next time of Katawa Shoujo. I'm very excited to see where this game goes. For a 9-year-old visual novel, it doesn't look that old to me. Perhaps the computer visuals in the game are of like Windows XP, or even probably Vista, I don't know. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves.